Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome back, and in this episode we're going to be building on our pickup system. We're going to be adding some cool effects, we're going to also be adding some new power-up types. On top of this we're also going to add some nice visual effects which we can also attach to our enemies and things like that. So let's just get straight to it. Alright guys, if you've been following this series you should already have some pickups like this. If not, you can go back and follow those episodes and catch up. Alright, so the first thing we want to do anyways is we want to head over to our behaviours and we want to add a timer. On top of this, we also want to add another behaviour, and we want to add a fade. You might already have this from a previous episode, but we never went into how to configure this. So just add the timer and a fade to each of your objects. And what we need to do is, for the fade, we just need to set this to 0.2, the wait time we'll set to 1, 0.2 on the fade out time, and then we can disable, destroy and enable. And then just do the same thing for your other pickups. Alright guys, and then whilst you're working on this, one thing you could also do is, you could also, on your enemies, you could add a fade effect also on there. So you could add a fade behaviour. You can set the fade in timer to just 1 second, set the wait and fade out to 0, and then just have it enabled. And that will now just add a nice little effect, so when your enemy's spawning, they're just going to fade in instead of just snapping into the screen, so it's just going to look a bit cleaner. So anyways, once you've done that, head over to your event sheet and we can start getting this working. Again, if you have the premium version, use a family and group all your pickups together so you don't need to keep duplicating this process. If not, what we can do is, so in our uncreated events, we can now refactor this, and then what we can do is we can use the timer and the fade to now give some more visual feedback so that once it starts running out of time, our pickup can start flashing, and it also, fades in a bit nicer as well. So we're just going to get the pickup looking a bit cleaner. So what we've got to do is just got to say coin pickup, timer, we want to start the timer, and this is up to you, so how long you want your pickup to be on the screen for. So let's say we said 10 or 15 seconds. We want this to happen once, and we can just call this coin pickup. So we can drag this to the top. So on create, we're going to start the timer, coin pickup for 15 seconds. Add another condition. We're going to say coin pickup, and we can set running, and we're going to say, is the timer running? And then we also want to type in here, so you can also just put the one quotation mark, and it'll give you the options. So we can just do coin pickup. So if coin pickup's running, then we can run the actions. So in turn action, we'll say system wait. And this can be the delay, so how long until we want to start adding the flash. So we could say wait 4 seconds. We can duplicate this. And then in between these, we could start the fade. So we could say coin pickup, fade, start. So wait 4 seconds, start the fade, wait another 4 seconds. And then this time what we can do is, so we can say coin pickup again. And then we can set the wait time of the fade. We can set this to 0. And so we initially set it to 1, so it'd wait 1 second. So it'd flash, wait 1 second, flash again. However, now we'll set it to 0, so that's then, so after 8 seconds, we're going to start flashing faster. So this just adds a nice visual cue, it's about to run out. And then finally we can, once again, coin pickup. And we can say on timer, so this time on the timer's finished. Coin pickup. So once the timer's finished, and then we want to actually destroy the pickup, so we can copy this here. And we can destroy the pickup. And then now all we need to do is, so you don't need these anymore, this wait 10 seconds and destroy. Because now we're going to use the timer to decide when to flash and when to destroy it. So that's just a nice and quick, simple way for you to add some more visual feedback to your pickups. And then you can now just repeat this same process on all your different pickups, like your premium and health, stuff like that. Alternatively, again, if you have the paid version, you would just have one event called, you would have a family called pickups, and you would literally just have this here for one thing. So if we test this real quick, and now we'll spawn the pickups, and as you can see, they start flashing. And then once the timer, and as you can see, so after 4 seconds, they start flashing faster. Okay, then one more visual thing we could quickly do is if you head over to your object repository, we can insert a new object, particle. For now, I'm just going to do this quick, so we can just get a nice little, yellow square or something. I'll drag in a yellow square. We can call this coin, pickup, particle, or something like that. And then real quick, so you'd set the rate to something like 2, if you just want, a low amount. You'd set it to 360. Maybe we'll set it to 3 actually. And then we want this small, so we can set it to 16. We don't need the grow rate, we could just say 50-50 on the X and Y randomizers. Speed can be 30, we'll do 60 on the size. And then lastly, we'll just give it a bit of gravity as well, just so the particles actually fall. We'll set to 300. And yes, so obviously play around with that, guys, get it looking how you'd like. Alright, so once you're happy with your particles, all you'd have to do is, so for each one of your, interactions, so on collision with pickups, you would just add an action. You'd say player collision. You spawn another object, particle, you spawn the correct particle, game layer, and that's it. And then again, you just duplicate this for each of your different objects. So yeah, hopefully that helps you get this looking a bit nicer. Alright guys, so that's just real quick some nice visual elements you could add to, get this looking a bit more polished. The next thing I'd like to show you is, so we're going to be adding some more pickups. These are going to be power-ups instead, and what we'll do is we'll add a magnet, and we'll also add like a tornado effect, which is kind of cool. So for the magnet, that's dead simple. All we need to do is, we need to actually first add the pickup. Alright guys, so to add the magnet, first thing we need to do is we need to clone one of our pickups, and we can just call this magnet pickup. We also then just need to quickly clone the actual sprite, so once again we'll clone this, and so this will be magnet texture. And then real quick guys, I've just drawn this little magnet. And then just make sure you attach the new object. So for this one it'd be magnet sprite. Magnet texture, sorry. And so we've now got our magnet. Alright guys, so once you've added that, real quickly, all you need to do is just duplicate the same process to make your new pickup. So just like the other ones, create a magnet and add the same events. Or, add it to your family. Alright guys, so real quick, I just added the magnet folder here. So we've got the magnet events now. All you then need to do is just make sure you add that to your, also add that to your, your random drop. So I already added this here, so, add another entry, magnet. And then you also just need to make sure you come down to your random drop event, and you want to add an option for magnet. And then we'll just go system, create object, and we want to actually create the magnet. So we go magnet, pickup, game layer. And then we can just copy what we had before, so we've got last enemy X and last enemy Y. So we'll just set that there. Alright, great. And so now to get the magnet effect actually working, this is dead simple because we already have somewhat of a magnet effect just for that light pull. So all we need to do is we just need to amplify that for a short period of time. So on collision with the magnet, we add an action. We'll say play a billboard, add to. We want to add to the range, and then let's just add 10,000. We can copy this. And then all we've got to do is we have to say system, wait. We'll wait 6 seconds, something like that, or however long you want the magnet effect to last, so we could even make it last 10 seconds if you'd like. And then we can just paste this in here, but then this time instead of add to, we want to subtract from, and just keep it the same. And so it's as simple as that. We're going to increase the range by 10,000, wait 10 seconds, and then reduce it. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got a magnet, and then it pulls everything in for 10 seconds, so now when we kill the enemies, and everything gets pulled in. So this is a cool little effect to add. One thing I also just realised is on your particle, just make sure that's set to one shot and not continuous spray. Alright guys, so let's add a tornado effect next. So I'm going to skip this ahead, so just do the exact same process, create a new pickup, call it tornado, give it its textures, things like that, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, so real quick, I've just done the same thing again, I've created the tornado, so this is similar to the other pickups for now. So next thing we need to do is head over to your object repository, we need to add another right click, insert an object, 3D shape, and then this is going to be the actual tornado. So this tornado, or whatever you want it to be, basically it's just going to almost be like a magnet for enemies. It's going to pull them in, and then it's going to destroy them. We need to add an instance variable. We'll call it radius. We'll set this to something like 400. Alright, next let's just open this up, and then on the bottom layer, or you could also add another image again, but for now I'm just going to on the bottom face, and then I'm just going to paste this in here. And this is just some little thing I did, tornado, whatever, it's just a placeholder for now, but make this look how you like, and then disable all the other faces, so you've just got the front face. We can make this a lot larger. And then on this, so what we'll do is I'll set the Z elevation to 1, just so it's slightly above. I'm going to set the Z height to 20. And on top of this, so what we can do is, so we can go to behaviors. We want to add a sign behavior. And we're actually going to add 3 of these sign behaviors, so add this 3 times. And so now we should have sign 1, 2, and 3. For each of these, we're going to set this one to size, and the second one to set to horizontal, and the third one to vertical. So the top one we'll set to a period of 1, random of 1, and then magnitude we can just set to 10. For the second one, we can set that to similar, so 1, 1, and we'll set the magnitude to 20. And then for vertical, again this is all up to you, you can play around with this. I'll keep this as is. So now if you preview all of these at once, and as you can see, it now just adds a bit of an effect. It's scaling in and out, it's moving around. And so it's just a bit like a tornado kind of movement. Alright, great, so play around with that, guys, get it looking how you'd want. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to actually spawn that tornado object. So we're going to say system. So on collision with the tornado pickup, add an action, system, create object. We're going to create the tornado, game layer, and then we can just set this to player collision .x and player collision .y. Add another action, tornado, and we're just going to set visible as well. So we'll set it to visible. Next, head to the bottom, we're going to add another action. We'll say tornado, on created, And then we'll go system, we'll wait 10 seconds. And then after that 10 seconds, we'll say tornado again and we'll destroy it. I'll just drag this under here like this. Then what we can add is, so again, you'd set your enemy's family or your enemies. We can say enemy, so I'll do this with tomato for now. On collision with tornado. And then we can just set that to, you know, destroy, so we can destroy the enemies. And then you'd also add any visual elements you want there also. And then lastly, we want to actually pull the enemies towards the tornado, so we'll have another action. We'll say system every tick for now. But we want to have additional conditions, so we'll right click, add a condition, tornado, and now we're going to say is visible, which is why we're also adding that. We can use it as a check to see, you know, if it's actually on the screen. Right click again, add another condition, we'll say system, and we're going to say for each, and this is where you'd use your enemies, so we'd say for each enemy, we're going to right click, blank sub event, and in order for this to work, we need to actually add a new variable to our enemies. So go over to your enemies, and we need to add another variable, and we'll just call this distance to tornado. So distance tornado, we can head back here and we can now say compare variables. So we'll say compare two values, and then we'll say enemy tomato, or whatever your enemies are, your enemy family or whatever, and you'll say enemy tomato dot distance to tornado, and then you want to say is it less or equal to tornado dot radius. And then inside of our every tick action, we want to add an action, get your enemy, and then we want to set the value of our, so we want to set the value of our distance to tornado. And then real quick, if you just pause and copy this in here, it'll be faster. So depending on what you've got your enemies as, if you have a family or, you know, your different enemies, just paste them in here. Again, it's unfortunate if you know, you either have to duplicate this process, or if you have a family, you can just use the one thing. And then lastly in here, we want to say enemies. So get your enemy, set position. And then once again, you can just copy this here. We're doing this similar to the pickups, where, you know, we're comparing the distance between the enemies and the tornado. Alright guys, so that should be it for this. I just removed the loop at the top. I think that was causing some issues, so just double check for that. And then, so all we're doing is when we collide with a pickup, we're destroying it, creating the tornado. We're going to set it visible. We're going to give it a lifespan of 10 seconds. And then, so once you actually collide with the tornado, so once the enemies collide with it, every tick, we're going to, you know, pull them towards it. Alright, so that's it for this episode, guys. We've added some nice visuals, we've got a magnet effect, and we've also got a tornado effect that's going to pull all the enemies in, as you can see, when they get close enough to it, and it pulls them in. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care.